Hello, my friend. Let's continue with these fascinating letters that give us great insight to the life, but also the thinking and the struggles of David Herbert Lawrence. These are from the Penguin book, Selected Letters of D.H. Lawrence. Letter 81 to Martin Secker from Via Miranda, Scandici, Florence, Monday, 5th July 1926. Dear Secker, in the hot weather the days slip by and one does nothing and loses count of time. I have never answered your letter about sea and Sardinia. Every time I thought I'd said it seems to me a good idea to do a 7 and 6 edition without pictures, and every time I forgot. But I hope you have gone ahead with it. Do you think it's wise to start doing the other books as cheap as 3 and 6? But we can talk about that when we come. In the real summer, I always lose interest in literature and publications. The cicadas rattle away all day in the trees. The girls sing, cutting the corn with the sickles. The sheaves of wheat lie all afternoon like people dead asleep in the heat. Et puis non si frega. I don't work except at an occasional scrap of an article. I don't feel much like doing a book of any sort. Why do any more books? There are so many, and such a small demand for what there are, so why add to the burden and waste one's vitality over it? Because it costs one a lot of blood. Here we can live very modestly and husband our resources. It is as good as earning money to have very small expenses. Dunque. And then we're silly enough to go away. We leave next Monday, the 12th, for Baden-Baden, care of Frau von Richthofen, Ludwig Wilhelmstift. And I expect we shall spend August in England. A friend is finding us a little flat in Chelsea. So we shall see you and Rena, and I hope we'll have a pleasant time. I want to be back here for September and Vendamia because I like it best here. The Tenente still writes occasionally from Porto Maurizio, where he is transferred, rather lachrymose and forlorn. And we had a postcard from your Suocera. Reggie Turner came out the other day. He says he's doing that book, but I doubt if he'll ever finish it. My sisters write extremely depressed about the strike. England seems crazy. Quo vous perdere Dios? Well, it's not my fault, but building your life on money is worse than building your house on sand. Remember us both to Rena. Arrivederci, D.H. Lawrence. Letter 82 to Rolf Gardiner, care of Frau von Richthofen, Ludwig Wilhelmstift, Baden-Baden, Thursday, July 1926. Dear Rolf Gardner, your letter today, as usual, like a bluster in the weather. I am holding my hat on. But do let us meet. We arrive in London on July 30th and go to a little flat, 25 Rossetti Garden Mansions, Flood Street, Chelsea, SW3. We shall use it as a pied-à-terre. Myself, I have promised to spend some time with my sisters on the Lincolnshire coast and to go to Scotland, various things. I believe we are mutually a bit scared, I of weird movements and you of me. I don't know why. But if you're in London, even for a couple of days after the 30th, do come and see us and we can talk a little, nervously. No, I shall ask you questions like a doctor of a patient he knows nothing about. But I should like to come to Yorkshire. I should like even to try to dance a sword dance with ironstone miners above Whitby. I should love to be connected with something, with some few people in something. As far as anything matters, I have always been very much alone and regretted it, but I can't belong to clubs or societies or Freemasons or any other damn thing. So if there is, with you, an activity I can belong to, I shall thank my stars. But, of course, I shall be wary beyond words of committing myself. Everything needs a beginning, though, and I shall be very glad to abandon my rather meaningless isolation and join in with some few other men, if I can. If only in the dirty solution of this world some new little crystal will begin to form. Yours, D. H. Lawrence. Letter 83 to Rolf Gardiner. Villa Miranda, Scandici, Florence, 3rd December 1926. Dear Gardiner, I was glad to get your letter. Wondered often about the Baltic meeting. Sounds a little bit dreary. I think it's hardly worthwhile trying anything deliberately international. The start at home is so difficult. But the song tour sounded splendid. I'm sure you're doing the right thing with hikes and dances and songs, but there needs a centre of silence, a central clue, or it will fizzle away again, and a heart of darkness, to borrow from Rider Haggard. We'll have to establish some spot on earth. That will be the fissure into the underworld, like the oracle at Delphos, where one can always come to. I will try to do it myself. I will try to come to England and make a place, some quiet house in the country where one can begin, and from which the hiker, maybe, can branch out. Some place with a big barn and a bit of land, if one has enough money. Don't you think that is what it needs? And then one must set out and learn a deep discipline, and learn dancers from all over the world, and take whatsoever we can make into our own, and learn music the same, mass music, and canons, wordless music like the Indians have, and keep on trying. It is a thing one has to feel one's way into, and perhaps work a small farm at the same time, to make the living cheap. It's what I want to do, only I shrink from a beginning. It is most difficult to begin. Yet I feel in my inside one ought to do it. You are doing the right things in a skirmishing sort of way, but unless there is a headquarters there will be no continuing. You yourself will tire. What do you think? If I did come to England to try such a thing, I should depend on you as the organiser of the activities and the director of activities. About the dancers and folk music, you know it all. I know practically nothing. We need only be even 2 people to start. I don't believe either in numbers or haste. But one has to drive one's peg down to the centre of the earth, or one's root. It's the same thing. And there must also be work connected. I mean earning a living, at least earning one's bread. I'm not coming to England for the widowing of Mrs. Holroyd. I begin to hate journeys. I've journeyed enough. Then my health is always risky. You remember the devil's cold I got coming to England in August? I've always had chest bronchial troubles and pneumonia after effects, so have to take care. How well I can see Hucknall Torkard and the miners. Didn't you go into the church to see the tablet where Byron's heart is buried? My father used to sing in the Newstead Abbey choir as a boy, but I've gone many times down Hucknall Long Lane to Watnall, and I like Watnall Park. It's a great Sunday morning walk. Some of my happiest days I've spent haymaking in the fields just opposite the south side of Greasley Church, bottom of Watnall Hill, adjoining the vicarage. Miriam's father hired those fields. If you're in those parts again, go to Eastwood, where I was born and lived for my first 21 years. Go to Walker Street and stand in front of the 3rd house and look across at Cryche on the left, Underwood in front, High Park Woods and Annesley on the right. I lived in that house from the age of 6 to 18, and I know that view better than any in the world. Then walk down the fields to the breach, and in the corner house facing the stile, I lived from 1 to 6. And walk up Engine Lane, over the level crossing at Moor Green Pit, along till you come to the highway, the Alfreton Road, turn to the left towards Underwood, and go till you come to the lodge gate by the reservoir, go through the gate and up the drive to the next gate, and continue on the footpath just below the drive on the left, on through the wood to Felly Mill, the White Peacock Farm. When you've crossed the brook, turn to the right through Felly Mill Gate and go up the footpath to Annesley. Or better still, turn to the right uphill before you descend to the brook, and go on uphill, up the rough deserted pasture, on past Annesley Kennels, long empty, on to Annesley again. That's the country of my heart. From the hills, if you look across at Underwood Wood, you'll see a tiny red farm on the edge of the wood. That was Miriam's farm, where I got my first incentive to write. I'll go with you there some day. I was at my sister's in September and we drove round. I saw the miners and pickets and policemen. It was like a spear through one's heart. I tell you, we'd better buck up and do something for the England to come, for they've pushed the spear through the side of my England. If you are in that district, anywhere near Ripley, do go and see my sister. She'd love it. Her husband has a tailor's shop and outlying tailor's trade amongst the colliers. They've got on, so have a new house and a motor car, but they're nice. Mrs. W. E. Clark, Torreston, G Street, Ripley, Derby. Ripley is about 6 miles from Eastwood by tramcar. You should do a hike from Nottingham, Nuttall, Watnall, Moorgreen Reservoir, Annesley, Bledeth or Papplewick, and across Sherwood Forest, Ollerton, and round perhaps to Newark. And another do, Langley Mill to Ripley, Ripley to Wingfield Manor, one of my favourite ruins, Cryche, and then down to Wat Standwell and up again to Aldersworsley, and to Bole Hill and Wirksworth, and over Veergelia, or keep on the high ground from Cryche and go round Tansley Moor, round to Matlock Bridge, or where you like. But it's real England, the hard pith of England, and I'll walk it with you one day. Tell me what you think of Mrs. Holroyd if you see it. If they give David in mid-March, I shall come to England in mid-February. Then I hope to see you properly. Keep the idea of a centre in mind and look out for a house. Not dear, because I don't make much money, but something we might gradually build up. Yours, D. H. Lawrence. Mrs. Holroyd was an aunt of mine. She lived in a tiny cottage just up the line from the railway crossing at Brinsley, near Eastwood. My father was born in the cottage in the quarry hole just by Brinsley level crossing. But my uncle built the old cottage over again, all spoilt. There's a nice path goes down by the cottage and up the fields to Coney Grey Farm, then round to Eastwood or Moor Green, as you like. Letter 84 to Rolf Gardiner. Via Merendi, Scandici, Florence, 11 July 1927. Dear Gardiner, thanks for the camp report. It's amusing, to a novelist, the thing interesting. I don't believe you'll ever get modern Germans free from an acute sense of their nationality, and in contact with foreigners they'll feel political for years to come. They have no self-possession, and they have that naive feeling that it's somebody else's fault. Apart from that, they are lustig, which the English never are. And I think they are capable of mass movement, which the English aren't. Again, not the intelligent ones. But don't forget you yourself want to be too suddenly and completely a leader. Spring ready-armed from the head of Jove. The English will never follow, not even a handful, you see if they do. They'll come for fun, and if it's no fun, basta. But go ahead, there's nothing wrong, and here's nothing without trying. Fra nuovo il paradiso c'è, l'inferno ha poi il purgatorio. I shall be interested to know what to make of your centre when you've got it. It seems to me the most important. The world sails on towards a debacle. Camps and wanderings won't help that. But a little ark somewhere in a quiet place will be valuable. So make it if you can. I don't think we shall come to England this summer. We want to leave in a fortnight for a place in Carinthia. Then September in the Issertal near München, and then a bit in Baden. Then back here. So I can't come to the Cheviots. But one day I really should like to come to one of your meetings somewhere, if I can come as an outsider, not too strenuous. My health is very tiresome lately. Good luck, then, and au revoir, D. H. Lawrence. By the way, Is Goethe a German or a Jew or a Scandinavian or what by blood? Your camp sounded just a wee bit like going to prison for 2 weeks hard. Letter 85 to Dr. Trigant Burrow. Via Miranda, Scandici, Florence, 13 July 1927. Dear Trigant Burrow, you are the most amusing person that writes to me. It is really funny, resistances, that we are, all of us, all the while existing by resisting, and that the PA, doctor, and his patient only come to hugs in order to offer a perfect resistance to mother or father or Mrs. Grundy, sublimating one resistance into another resistance, each man his own nonpareil, and spending his life secretly or openly resisting the nonpareil pretensions of all other men. A very true picture of us all, poor dears. All bullies, all being bullied. What ails me is the absolute frustration of my primeval societal instinct. The hero illusion starts with the individualist, deeper, and all resistances ensue. I think societal instinct much deeper than sex instinct, and societal repression much more devastating. There is no repression of the sexual individual comparable to the repression of the societal man in me by the individual ego, my own and everybody else's. I am weary even of my own individuality and simply nauseated by other people's. I should very much like to meet somebody who has been through your laboratory and come societally unrepressed. And come societally unrepressed. Is there anybody? If it weren't for money, the peasants here wouldn't be bad, but money is the stake through the bowels of the societal suicide. What a beastly word, societal. This is to say, if you come to Europe, do let me know. I should like to meet you. I love the way you pull the loose legs out of the tripods of the pietical pythonesses. Of course, men will never agree, can't, in their subjective sense perception. Subjective sense perceptions are individualistic ab ovo, but do tell them to try. What a scrimmage among the mental scientists and a tearing of mental hair. Mental science, anyhow, can't exist any more than the goose can lay the golden egg, but keep 'em at it, pretending. I think we shall be in Austria, near Villach, for August, and in Bavaria, near Munich, for September. Are you coming to Europe? To the PA thing in Innsbruck? Every Jew is a Jehovah, and every Christian is a Jesus, and every scientist is the Logos, and there's never a man about. I've got bronchioles, and I'm in bed for a bit, and furious. You can convince a man that he lusts after his grandmother, he doesn't mind, but how are you going to bring him to see that as an individual, he's a blown egg? I'll try and find your paper on the genesis and meaning of homosexuality. You should have said Genesis and Exodus. But I've long wanted to know the meaning. And there you told it in 1917. D. H. Lawrence. Letters to here will follow on when we move. Letter 86. To A. Huxley, Miranda, Monday. Dear Aldous, many thanks for proper studies. I have read 70 pages with a little astonishment that you are so serious and professional. You are not your grandfather's Enkel for nothing. That funny dry-mindedness and underneath social morality. But you'll say I'm an introvert and no fit judge, though I think to make people introverts and extroverts is bunk. The words apply, obviously, to the direction of the consciousness or the attention, and not to anything in the individual essence. You are an extrovert by inheritance far more than in essay. You'd have made a much better introvert had you allowed. Did she fall or was she pushed? Not that I care very much whether people are intro or extra or anything else, so long as they're a bit simpatico. But, my dear, don't be dry and formal and exposition all that. What's the odds? I just read Darwin's Beagle again. He dried himself. And tant de bruit pour les insectes. but I like the book. We sit here rather vaguely, and I still haven't been to Florence. It's colder, and we warm up in the evening. Frida, inspired by Maria, has launched into puddings, boiled batter and jam. I do bits of things, darn my underclothes and try to type out poems, old ones. Reggie and Orioli and Scott Moncrief and a young Acton came en quatre. I poured tea, they poured the rest. We shall have to be seeing you soon and making plans for Christmas and Cortina, or rather New Year and Cortina. I think we shall go to Florence for Christmas, somewhere where we can eat turkey and be silly, not sit solitary here. Will you be in Florence too? I'm reading Beethoven's letters, always in love with somebody when he wasn't really, and wanting contacts when he didn't really, part of the crucifixion into isolate individuality. Pour revenir. Love, whatever it is to all. D.H.L. I don't mean that I didn't find the 70 pages good. They're very sane and sound and good. Only I myself am in a state of despair about the word, either written or spoken seriously. That's why, I suppose, I wrote this when I wasn't asked, instead of holding my tongue. Letter 87 to Witter Binner. Via Miranda, Scandici, Florence, 13 March 1928. Dear Binner, I sniffed the red herring in your last letter a long time, then at last decide it's a live sprat. I mean about the plumed serpent and the hero. On the whole, I think you're right. The hero is obsolete, and the leader of men is a back number. After all, at the back of the hero is the militant ideal, and the militant ideal, or the ideal militant, seems to me also a cold egg. We're sort of sick of all forms of militarism and militantism, and Miles is a name no more for a man. On the whole, I agree with you. The leader-come-follower relationship is a bore, and the new relationship will be some sort of tenderness, sensitive, between men and men and men and women, and not the one up, one down, lead on, I follow, ich dien sort of business. So you see, I'm becoming a lamb at last, and you'll even find it hard to take umbrage at me, do you think? But still, in a way, one has to fight, but not in the oh glory sort of way. I feel one still has to fight for the phallic reality, as against the non-phallic cerebration unrealities. I suppose the phallic consciousness is part of the whole consciousness, which is your aim. To me, it's a vital part. So I wrote my novel, which I want to call John Thomas and Lady Jane, but that I have to submerge into a subtitle and call it Lady Chatterley's Lover. But I am printing here in Florence an unexpurgated edition of this tender and phallic novel, far too good for the public. The expurgated will come in the autumn. But this, the full, fine flower, with pistil and stamen standing, I hope to have ready by May 15th, 1,000 copies, of which 500 for America at $10 a copy. I shall send you a few little order forms, and do, please send a few out for me, to the right people. You can reach a lot of the right sort of people in the universities. I shall mail direct from Florence as soon as the book is ready, a good book. And why should the red flower have its pistil nipped out before it is allowed to appear? So I shall trust you in this. We are in this house till May 6th. Then I don't know where. I want to come to New Mexico, perhaps even earn a little money this way to come with. Tante belle cose. D.H. Lawrence. Letter 88 to A. Huxley. Via Miranda, 27th March, 1928. Dear Aldous, your letter yesterday. Glad you like the poor. I got yesterday 2 copies of Scrutinies, the book with my Galsworthy essay in it. Some of them hit fairly straight. But Edwin Muir, real Scotchy, is overpowered by Bennett's gold watch chain. I'd like to write an essay on Bennett, sort of pig in clover. Your ideas of the grand perverts is excellent. You might begin with a Roman and go on to St. Francis, Michelangelo and Leonardo, Goethe or Kant, Jean-Jacques Rousseau or Louis XIV, Byron, Baudelaire, Wilde, Proust. They all did the same thing, or tried to kick off or to intellectualize, and so utterly falsify the phallic consciousness, which is the basic consciousness, and the thing we mean, in the best sense, by common sense. I think Wilhelm Meister is amazing a book of peculiar immorality, the perversity of intellectualized sex, and the utter incapacity for any development of contact with any other human being, which is peculiarly bourgeois and Goethean. Goethe began millions of intimacies and never got beyond the how do you do stage, then fell off into his own boundless ego. He perverted himself into perfection and godlikeness. But do a book of the grand orthodox perverts. Back of all of them lies ineffable conceit. Was in Florence yesterday, saw Douglas, looking very old, off in a week's time to Aleppo, or so he says, by Orient Express. Do you remember its timetable in Diablerets? From Aleppo he wants to go to Baalbek and then, presumably, to rise into heaven. He's terribly at an end of everything. I haven't got proofs yet of my novel, but they'll begin this week, and say they'll only take about 3 weeks. The Phoenix is printed, very nice. I shall send Maria one. Orioli is very keen. I've got about 2,000 liras in orders. Orioli thinks if we got on well with this book, perhaps he can do others and the author give him a percentage. Not a bad idea. Might be the nucleus of the Authors Publishing Society of which I spoke, however, to X, and so no doubt he'll bombard you. I don't like his letters, sort of bullying tone that he takes, with an offended Jewish superiority. Did you get the order forms? Do get private people to send money if you can, so that I can see if I can sell enough without the booksellers, who take a third commission in America and a quarter in England, and then hold the book back and sell it for double the price. I hate middlemen, and want to eliminate them as far as possible. If I can carry this thing through, it will be a start for all of us unpopular authors. Never let it be said I was a Bennett. I was reading Aretino's Ragionamenti, sometimes amusing but not created enough. I prefer Boccaccio. We had one sunny day, but grey and windy again now. No fun. F's daughter here, but leaves tomorrow. The Wilkes, mere wraiths, having packed up every old rag, pot, pan, and whisker with the sanctity of pure idealists cherishing their goods. Had a cable from Brett asking me to send my pictures to New York for exhibition on May 1st. Too short a notice. Wish the sun would shine. Even if we had to go to Switzerland, we could get away early in July and go to Toulouse or wherever it is. Letter 89. To M. Huxley. Via Miranda, Scandici, Firenze, Tuesday, 16 April 1928. Dear Maria, quite a while since we heard from you. F was in Alassio a week with her daughter Barbara, came back last night. Now we're going to begin to pack. I am winding up my last picture too, so I can have them shipped to London. I think I shall send them to Dorothy Warren. They might as well be shown. But I shan't sell them. I'm in the middle of the proofs. Shall finish them this week. Still haven't got a cover paper. Want to find a good red, Phoenix in black. I send you one specimen with the bird. Paper no good. Have a fair number of orders from England and the first one from America yesterday, so they're beginning. After having the London people trying to pull me down and make me feel in the wrong about Lady C, Curtis Brown's office en bloc, Secker, Cape, I was quite pleased to have Mrs. Knopp's letter, saying she liked it very much and they want to publish it. Really, people are swine. The way they try to make one feel in the wrong. The Forum sent me letters written by people who read my story. The Escaped Cock, that the Forum published in February. Really, they're funny. I'm an enemy of the human species, have committed the unpardonable sin, etc., etc. And a story good as gold. And a woman who's been my friend for years told me on Saturday that my pictures were disgusting and unnecessary and even old-fashioned. Really? I shall have to buy a weapon of some sort. Wish I had the skunks. Did you enjoy the trip north? How well I know Lincoln. Used to love it. Did you go to the flat Dree coast and Boston and King's Lynn, or did you go to Southall and Nottingham? Roses are out and iris just fluttering out. Are you feeling chirpy, both of you? We had lunch with Lady Colfax at the Waterfields, who have inherited Janet Ross's place, on Monday. Bertie Noir, DHL. I liked Lady Colfax. She seemed real, but looked as if she feared I might bite. Letter 90 to M. and A. Huxley. Kesselmat, Steigbergstadt, Bern, 15 August 1928. Dear Maria and Aldous, nothing particularly new here. Last week I was better and sunbathed. This week I've got a cold and feel all hot inside. It's a beastly climate, really. Hot and cold at once. I'm getting sick of it. Hope we can leave in first half of September, but my sister is coming with her daughter for a fortnight, end of this month. Then, when she goes, we can go. Presumably to Baden-Baden for a bit, and possibly to England. I have it in my mind I want to go back to the ranch, but absolutely in November. Perhaps we might first go and look at some Etruscan things for a little giro. Arezzo, Cortona, Chiusi, Orvieto, Norta Bieda, places just north of Rome. What do you say? But I begin to feel I want to go back to New Mexico. I shall never be well any more in Europe, so dead. Nothing to react to. I am still unaware of the fate of Lady Jane in America. Some copies arrived. Then we had cables saying, wait. So we are waiting. Not that there is any hurry anymore. All of the English copies have arrived safely. It has been good fun, really, and worth it, though the money hasn't all come in by any means. But I feel I've had another whack at 'em, a good satisfactory whack, and it's for them to feel Mincione, not me. How they love to make one Mincione with their decayed disapproval. But their turn, not mine. How glad I am to have lost certain of my friends through John Thomas, like the Israelites who fell dead when the magic serpent was erected. May they all fall dead. Pfft. Aldous, will you please write me out the words, I'll give you one? After 4? As far as 4 for the gospel writers, but 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know. I had a copy of Transition, that Paris magazine, the American number. My God, what a clumsy olla putrida James Joyce is. Nothing but old fags and cabbage stumps of quotations from the Bible and the rest, stewed in the juice of deliberate, journalistic dirty-mindedness. What old and hard-worked staleness, masquerading as the all-new. Gertrude Stein is more amusing, and some of the Americans quite good. But for prize Je Jeune Pape, take the letters from Frenchmen at the end. The sheer rinsing of babies' napkins. How feeble the Frenchy mind has become. DHL.